And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. We're almost at 300, so do me a favor, hit subscribe, watch to the end, comment, keep them coming, and share with friends because the insanity, literally the insanity, it's just not stopping. I mean, yesterday, Trump had an interview with Greg Kelly. You may remember Greg Kelly, right? The disgraced Fox journalist that ended up with one of those Me Too problems. Well, now he's on Newsmax. And while it makes me sad to say this, his delusion was on full display. Now, Trump suggested that he be giving, imagine this, I'm trying not to let my blood pressure go through the roof, but Trump went so far as to suggest that he would be giving government compensation to the pardoned January 6ers, to the insurrectionists. I'm not joking. Our tax dollars will end up going to compensate these individuals. Play the clip.
No, but I took care of them. I said I was going to, and I did.
Is there any talk of, because they lost opportunity, they lost income, any kind of compensation fund?
Well, there's talk about that. We have a lot of people talk about it. A lot of the people that are in government now talk about it because a lot of the people in government really like that group of people. They were patriots as far as I was concerned. I talk about them a lot. They were treated very unfairly. You know, the thing they show is they show a group of 1,000, whatever it may have been, 1,500 people down. What they don't show, you never see the crowd that day. It was the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before. It went all the way to the Washington Monument. It was so wide, you virtually couldn't see anything else but people. They never show that. Whether it was 1 million people or less than 1 million, I don't know what it was, but you know, I see Bernie Sanders has a few people out there. They say, oh, the crowd is so big. They don't talk about the crowds. But a group of people went down there peacefully and patriotically. Remember that, you know.
He could say whatever he wants. First and foremost, there weren't 1 million people there. Second of all, they weren't peaceful and they weren't patriotic. I mean, again, what Trump is telling you, ignore your lying eyes. Forget about what you hear. And I'm referring to the screams that were coming from the mouths of the police officers that were being hit in the head with metal pipes or crushed between fences and doors. Delusional isn't even the word for it. Now, he also spoke about conspiracy theories that Democrat billionaires are funding the people that are defacing Teslas. No, he actually believes that there's a group of billionaire Democrats that think the best way to spend their money is to compensate individuals for defacing Teslas. Play the clip.
Nobody can believe it.
The Tesla violence. Have you heard anything about billionaires on the left, whether it's Soros or somebody else? Have you heard anything about planning, coordination, funding for these attacks?
I believe that is part of it. Yeah, there are some of them that were involved with my trials that were, I think, probably involved with that also. And, you know, Elon's done a very good job. He's found.
No, I mean, seriously, can we make this shit up? It's why I say to you, share with friends, bring people into the community. This insanity, this level of stupidity is not going away. And we need to talk about this every single day. There are not billionaires, Democrats especially, that are doing this. And if you think that there are, in law, there's something called evidence. Fucking prove it. It's easy to say, oh, of course it's the Democrats and it's billionaires. And right back to George Soros, right? Is he the only Democratic billionaire whose name that you know? Trump then goes on to speak about tariffs and how past presidents have made horrible deals. But his example of a bad deal in this specific comment that he's making to Greg Kelly makes no sense at all. It's not even a tariff. Play the deal.
But we've been ripped off as a country like no country has ever been ripped off before. I read some of these deals that are made by my predecessors, and it's almost like saying, how could anybody allow this to happen? Like, as an example, Who would allow men to play in women's sports?
Okay, let me be very clear about something. Men playing in women's sports is not a tariff. It's an issue. It's not a tariff. But good example there, Donald. They then spoke about the Ukraine war, and Trump continues to lie about the amount of aid that the United States has so far sent to Ukraine. Let me be very clear. It's not like he hasn't been told this number 100 times. It's just maybe he just doesn't remember. He's so used to the same commentary over and over and over again. Play the clip.
And I just want to see it stop. I also don't want to pay. You know, Biden paid $350 billion. Europe paid $100 billion. And I said, why didn't they equalize? Why were we so far ahead of Europe? Then I found out that Europe, as you know, took loans. In other words, they gave it in the form of loans. We didn't. But I was able to make a deal for rare earth, which will be good. At least we don't feel so stupid. But we had $350 billion, and so we're $250 billion more than Europe. Isn't it ridiculous? And
by the way, that lie has been debunked now at least 100 times. But Trump has a Stalin-esque approach to something. The more you repeat the lie, the more others repeat the lie, the more that the lie becomes the truth. In fact, it's almost the other way around. Europe has put in like 300 billion, and we've put in about $1.25. Meanwhile, Kelly couldn't avoid asking Trump about the Signal Gate issue. Play that clip.
What it was, we believe, is somebody that was on the line with permission, somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number or called through the app, and somehow this guy ended up on the call. Now, it wasn't classified, as I understand it. There was no classified information. There was no problem, and the attack was a tremendous success. So I can only go by what I've been told. I wasn't involved in it, but I was told by, and the other people weren't involved at all. But I feel very comfortable, actually.
You were on the...
Yeah. So I have a little recommendation here. First and foremost, maybe don't go on Greg Kelly. Maybe get a briefing so that you do have actual information. Let me start with the most basic, that even 5-year-olds who are watching the news know it wasn't a call. It was a chat. It's a total difference. All right. And by the way, your buddy there, Mike Waltz, actually acknowledges that he is the one who set up the chat. Now, in an earlier meeting, Trump avoided a question about the classified war plans. Expected, right? Play the clip.
Decades.
Mr. President, who told you that information was not classified?
Another question.
Which of your national
Please,
security
go ahead.
advisors?
Just following up on your comments on the economy, there is...
Yeah. Let me go on to say that another reporter asks Trump if Mike Waltz should apologize to the American people for making such a stupid mistake. Play that clip.
Do you think that Mike Waltz made a mistake, and does he need to apologize?
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
That's sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
A lot of times you find out defects by exactly things like that, but...
Yeah, let me go back and just repeat that Signal is not a government app. Meanwhile, Trump spoke about Jeffrey Goldberg, and he seemed, let's just say, a tad confused that it's, again, a group chat and not a phone call. This is the most basic of this information that has already been put out there by anybody and everybody that's paying attention. Play the clip.
That from what I heard, the man that we're talking about, who's not somebody that I don't think most people have ever heard of, he left. He found it very boring, and he left early. He got off the line very early. So I can't speak to it other than that. So he's made up a lot of stories, and you know, I think he's basically bad for the country. But it's a failing venture, very failing venture. They're very upset, and a thing like this is publicity for them. But
no, seriously, you can't make this shit up. Now, lastly, there's never a moment that Trump is not going to take an opportunity to distract the American people, to deflect, to lie, and to emphasize that his last 2 months as president have been the best in America's history. Play the clip.
because I know people do get on those lines, whether it's Signal or anything else. Yeah.
So are you going to change any procedures as a result of this?
Well, I mean, look, we look at everything, and you know they've made a big deal out of this because we've had 2 perfect months. We are bringing in business. We have another one announced tomorrow, a big one, very big. Like in the history of our country, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I think probably a lot of people are saying they started by saying it was the greatest first month that a president has ever had, and I think that's true. And now they say it's the best second month, and they had to find something. And this certainly will look at this. But the main thing was nothing happened. The attack was totally successful.
Yes, you and your enablers that are surrounding you. Where's the Donald Trump that I used to know? Where's the Donald Trump that would be furious over, this isn't a mistake. This is a fucking boondoggle. All right? This goes beyond a mistake. This is a catastrophic error. Where's the Donald Trump that would never stand for something like this, that demanded perfection? Not one that says, yeah, you know, it's a phone call. It's not a chat. Or that this wasn't war plans, but we still don't want you to release it, Jeff Goldberg, right? And so on and so forth. Where is the Donald Trump that I had known that would have taken Mike Waltz and thrown him out onto the street? Probably would have had me do it. Throw him onto the street for making such a stupid mistake. It's not the Donald Trump that's there now. And I really have to wonder why. And instead of turning around and accepting the responsibility and holding Mike Waltz and others accountable, he holds Jeffrey Goldberg, the victim here, accountable. Starts to defame the Atlantic, his paper, his magazine. Again, it's all about distraction, deflection, refusal to acknowledge responsibility. Is that really what we want? I don't. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.